I never have ever in my life taken a brand deal. I'm a firm believer that influencers nowadays, unless you're the top 1%, they're broke. My influencer friends are texting me, hey, can I get into high ticket sales? Because it's a consistent cash flow side income driver. Meanwhile, influencer brand deals are very flashy. It's like a brand might pay you for a month or 2 months and they might not renew you. And you're always on a constant wheel of staying relevant, posting content, getting your deliverables through. So I stay away from the brand deals just to make the point that sales and starting my sales company has been the only income that has ever entered my bank account.
Quit my job nearly 2 years ago to live the dream.
Her caption is really small. Her caption says, I'm looking for a job again after quitting to become an influencer
And become a full-time influencer and content creator, and now I'm looking for a job again. And today I'm going to tell you the brutal, unfiltered, honest truth about being a full-time influencer. First things first, no, this has nothing to do with money. Financially, I am doing the best that I've ever done. That being said, when I blew up on social media 3 years ago, I was working a full-time job, which was stressful, but one that I really loved. I had just gotten out of a very toxic relationship, so I was finding myself, and I'd also just moved into my first ever studio apartment. So there was a lot of life going on for me, which naturally inspired me to put myself out there and to start making videos. Like, I was actively living a happening life and I was processing it by talking about it on socials. I then blew up on Instagram and I managed both my job and my Instagram for a whole year. Finally, after doing it for nearly 12 months, I quit my job because it was taking up a lot of time. But on the other hand, my social media was paying so much more for like a third of the time. So quitting became the better financial decision to make, and also
Well, listen, I'm not mad at that. If it was, did she say it was paying 3 times more? Hold on.
it was taking up a lot of time. But on the other hand, my social media was paying so much more for like a third of the time. So quitting.
Oh, it was paying more for a third of the time. That's cool. But if it's only taking a third of the time, right? I mean, you're working 8 hours a week, I'm assuming. So if it's only taking a third of the time, that's just what, another 3 hours? And this is why I don't understand. Why not just keep both? Then you'd be stable, especially if you have a career. I don't know if y'all have noticed, but in today's day and age, a lot of jobs aren't wanting to train anymore, especially careers. They're not in, you know how they used to say the middle class is disappearing? Entry level is disappearing with all this stuff that we have between AI, automation, the works. So I say that to say, if you could stay at a job and continue to get more valuable, because there's some things that's only going to take time. There's some things that you just got to put your time in. And so if you can continue to keep adding years to your experience and to your resume and ultimately to what jobs are looking for, then why not do both? And then you're also mitigating against the uncertain risks that appear to be looming coming soon in the future. That's what I don't understand. And you would have made you would have made all the money from both places. So you could live off one income and completely save or invest the other income. People have opportunities to get ahead, but they don't take full advantage of it. Y'all, before we get back into it, if you could like the video, I greatly appreciate it. Only takes a second and it actually helps out more than you know. And also if you could hype.
On the other hand, my social media was paying so much more for like a third of the time. So quitting became the better financial decision to make, and also because everyone talks about freedom and working for yourself, and that is highly glorified. But even while quitting my job, I knew that this would probably be a temporary break for me to explore what being a full-time influencer would be like. Now, after quitting, it took me nearly 6 to 8 months to just get used to how much time there was in my day. Unlike what a lot of influencers say, our work does not actually take a lot of time. We do not have to get stuck in traffic for 3 hours every single day. We can go on holiday anytime. Social media is not that hard, okay? And I'll be the first to admit that. And I did have a few productive months where I was, sharing my life, and I still loved what I was doing. But now I've officially reached that phase where this can't be what I do full time. No matter how incredible social media is and being an influencer is, and how amazing it is to get PR packages and get invited to events and portray this glam life that, yes, influencers do have, we as humans also need pressure and contrast and friction in our life, especially as a creative person. person, I've realized that I need to have a happening life that I'm deeply engaged with in order to be inspired to come and talk to you about it. I've been trying to make a creative vlog of my day for weeks now, and I don't know what to do because my life is just waking up and checking my socials and probably doing a brand deal and then thinking about what to post, and this is not life. And it's been a bit of a hard realization because the reality is, no matter how I feel, I also don't know if I can actually go back to a job. I also don't know what kind of jobs to apply for. Like, what's the next step forward? No matter how much people glorify freedom and being your own boss and waking up with no to-do lists, I just happen to belong to that category of people who thrives when they are stimulated. So yeah, I'm excited to share that I am in the job market again, hunting and looking for opportunities, and I hope this video has opened your eyes in.
And you know what's crazy? It sounds like she was comfortable enough at her original job to where, honestly, she like obviously she was comfortable enough at her other job to where she was still making her content just fine, right? But here's the thing. She mentioned, "Oh, I wanted to get my time back. I wanted to get my time back." Here's the thing. You got your time back, and then now you have 24 hours every day, and you're done with work after 3 hours. And she's looking, that'll make you procrastinate worse. Y'all, work is a spiritual thing too. It's a great thing. And it gives you balance, it gives you structure. You know, do you know what the Most High says about work? You have to stop looking at work as if like it's an obligation to a boss or, to your supervisor. Right? Here's what the Most High says about work. Work is you have to view work as a service to God, right? So when you're working, you should look at that as a way to honor the Most High. And when you do that, I think it'll change your perspective. And that's ultimately what it just means to seek first the kingdom, right? Laziness is condemned, while diligence is encouraged. Work is a way to use God given skills and experience to bring Him glory. Whatever you do, work heartily as for the Lord and not for men. So when you're working, yes, it's going to feel monotonous sometimes, it's going to feel mundane sometimes, but you ultimately have to remember what you're doing it for. And I feel like what I just listed off is a great reason. Y'all, before we get back into it, if you could like the video again, only takes a second and it actually helps out more than you know.
I want to be an influencer. I want to get PR. I want to get free stuff. No, you do not. This is a 1099 that I got
The caption says influencers are going broke and have to work regular 9-to-5 jobs.
in the mail yesterday. You know what this says? $63,000.
And it really be y'all favorite influencers that's getting regular jobs. Like, let's really talk about it.
So if you haven't been living under a rock, you probably would have heard that TikTok is about to get banned. And with that, there's a lot of content creators struggling to figure out what's next. A lot of them having to go get 9-to-5s. And that's what this video is about right here. A lot of content creators talking about why they have to go from creating content and being full-time influencers to going to work a 9-to-5 again. So we're going to go ahead and watch this video, react to it, and just watch it together pretty much, see what they got to say, and we can give our honest opinions on it. So let's go ahead and get right into this.
And it really be y'all favorite influencers that's getting regular jobs. Like, let's really talk about it. They're getting a job because it's temporary. Like, the whole social media influencer thing is really temporary. Even for people who are really, really successful at it, like, it only goes so far. It only lasts for so long. If you had to put influencers in a bubble, I would put them in a bubble with reality TV stars. Like, they're not celebrities, but like, they will be Ubering sometime soon. And even celebrities sometimes be having regular jobs or having businesses and stuff, because that stuff is not temporary. That stuff is temporary. What is that braid doing now? But all jokes aside, I see a lot of people on social media talking about that they have a regular job. And I really don't blame them, because you don't really know how long that your light is going to shine on the internet. Like, you genuinely don't know. That's why you should take advantage of the opportunity, but make sure you're acting normal at home.
See, now I kind of agree with that. Now, having a 9-to-5 isn't a bad thing, because at the end of the day, it's going to help fund.
I think in a lot of fields, right, especially in regards to entertainment, I think she brought up a good point, which was you really don't know how long your light is going to shine, is what she said. And that's true. But you can at the same time. I think what usually happens is a lot of people get complacent, because I think a lot of people lose track as far as especially when they first started and they were just trying to be the best that they could be. I think most people are just trying to maintain, right? If they did something good, they want to just match whatever they did good again. But I think the correct mindset would be to try to understand, how can I outdo myself? Imagine like an artist, right? Like a musical artist. And imagine they just have an incredible album, like a classic. And then it's like, don't they just try to like recreate that magic? Like, dang, I need another classic. Instead of having the mindset of always trying to one up themselves. I need to one up this. I think if they had that mindset of like, nah, that was good and all, but I need to even go past that level. I need to one up that. Then you could kind of mitigate against a lot of the uncertainty. But it ultimately just comes down to what you're doing. And again, why are you doing it? I'm just trying to you should just be trying to one up it just because you just want to work hard and you want to honor something. Right? But if you're just in it for the money, then it's going to be hard to have that same level of enthusiasm as well as that same perspective, whenever you hit a rough patch, or when you hit a wall. Ultimately, when you hit a block.
Yeah, I'm unpacking right now, so don't mind how I look. But I just came out here to say, if you go viral for literally being yourself, for being organic, for picking up your phone and showing nothing but yourself, do not go away from what you started with. I'm just scrolling as I'm sitting up here unpacking. I got my little TikTok on auto scroll, and I see everybody talking about how Chicago hottie broke, Now, mind you, I don't know if she's broke or not. I'm just saying if I'm just using her as an example. Once Layla started going like viral, she started stemming away from herself. She started stemming away from producing content herself. Like, she stopped being as organic. She started going on shows. She started.
At first, I wasn't sure if we were going to keep watching this because it sounds like she's talking about a specific creator in particular. But I kind of like the contents of what she's saying. She said once a creator went viral, basically they kind of got away from their bread and butter. And that's what I have to try to mitigate away from, right? Not that I'm viral, but just making sure that I always keep my main thing. And it's funny, a lot of creators will leave their jobs, and they'll leave their jobs and they won't even barely be making no money as creators. And so I think that philosophy applies there. Keep your main thing. If content creation starts making more money, then maybe you can prioritize that, but you can still keep your job. But now just content creation can be your main thing. But you don't have to just jump out there and leave yourself exposed, because you never know what could happen.
Fighting. Mind you, when I first seen Chicago hottie down my timeline, she never gave fighter. She always gave pretty but talk shit. You're not going to touch me. And that's the way that she should have stayed. Now she's trying to do podcasts. Now she's constantly doing shows. What y'all don't realize from this is, when doing TikTok, you're going to be your number one source of income. The more videos that you put out on your page that you get paid from, the more collabs that you do directly towards your page, that is where your money is coming from. When you flying out to these shows, got to pay to get your hair done, your makeup done, all that to keep up a certain image. When these folks is paying you this little base pay to go out here to fight, you probably going to get canceled. Mind you, she's streaming. Half of the stuff that she's saying, she can't even take back. She can't even stop and re-edit the video.
Okay, yeah, she's talking about somebody in particular, so we're not really going to be able to track her because we don't know who that is, most likely. But I like that. As far as keeping the main thing, again, it's like, never forget why you're here. The first clip, she brought up brand deals and all this type of stuff, and that's cool. And I hear that that's where majority of money can come from. But last time I checked, a brand deal, they're brand dealing with you because you're a content creator, because you create content. So in my mind, if the content stops, everything else stops. So I agree. That has to always be your North Star. That has to always be your foundation. And you can't lose track of that. And I think when people start chasing the money, they lose track of the actual source that all stemmed from to begin with. Her caption says, a lot of these influencers and content creators are going broke. That's why they're all moving back home. I'm guessing moving back home with their parents.
creators are going broke. It's a lot of them saying, oh, I'm moving back home. I'm moving back to my home. I'm moving back. I didn't know this place wasn't for me. This place is full of partying and bad influences, this and that. Like, let's be honest. Y'all just going broke. Y'all going broke. Like, let's just keep it a bean. Like, y'all going broke. Do not try to blame it on Houston or wherever you move to. Talking about, oh, this a party time, da da da. Every place parties. Atlanta's parties motherfucking hard. And I've been here all my life. Everybody go out every weekend, drink. Go have a good motherfucking time. Do I? No, because I got shit in real life going on that I need to be focusing on more than fucking partying, school, businesses, everything else than fucking partying every fucking weekend and using my money to do that. It's just the people y'all hang around. That's why y'all was so caught up in all the partying and all that shit. Don't be trying to blame it on the state and the city that you was moving to and lived in. No, it's because y'all was trying to keep up with the image, keep up with the internet. Like, oh, y'all just got all this money, y'all got all this, and y'all can just keep up and do what y'all want to do with the money that y'all make from social media. And that's not how it is. It's the people that y'all was hanging around. It's the influence that y'all was around. First of all, streaming university was y'all perform and go meet 10 to 13-year-olds. Like, what type of shit is that? Like, why is grown ass motherfuckers performing and meeting 13 and 10 and 12 and 11-year-olds? Like, I'm so confused by that. Y'all should have known right then and there, like, you can't make no living off this shit. Not by no little ass kids. No, you can't. Y'all talking about, oh, I gotta be back with my family. I gotta be back with friends and people that love me. No, you gotta go back so you can figure out what the fuck you want to do with your life. Social media is not forever. Content creator is not forever. And content creation is not for everybody. Like, you could be on for a certain amount of years, then you could fall off. King, for example. But anywho.
I don't know who that was you were talking about, but I think she just slighted somebody. But here's the thing. I like that because I think you should have that mindset. Like, content creation is not forever. Really, any opportunity to where you're able to get ahead, you shouldn't look at it like forever. And so I say this to say that you should be looking at what can I keep for myself and ideally invest for myself, right? Are we not living on percentages? Especially if you get this new stream of income and you already had an income. That's cool. Listen, if you make $5,000 a month and then you start making $2,000 on TikTok, what I would like to see is you was already good with $5,000. Sure, if you want to do a little something for yourself to encourage you to keep working harder, work hard, play hard, take half of that 2,000 and you spend that on whatever you want to do, a trip, whatever, but still keep that other 1,000. Because that way, if TikTok or whatever you're doing and leveraging ever goes away, guess what? You'll still have something to show for it. It always baffles me. People be working so hard. They might work at Popeyes, McDonald's, whatever. Going there working hard, dig ditches, working hard, and be living paycheck to paycheck or worse, still in the negative, going into debt. And it's like, you're going to look back after 30 years, 20 years, whatever, of all this hard work, and you're going to have nothing to show for it. And it's going to be like, damn, what did I do it for? So you have to have your life set up in a way to where anytime you look back at something, you could say, well, at least I still have something to show for what I did. If a year goes by, you need to have something to show for all that work you did 365 days. And if you don't, right, i.e. living paycheck to paycheck or in debt, whatever, that is an emergency. People think the emergency starts when the eviction notice gets on the door. No. If you can't set aside some money every month and you're not keeping something for yourself, that is an emergency. So I think people need to start moving with more urgency.
Part of being a content.
His caption says, let's have a real chat about how hard it is to make it as a content creator if you're not already rich / have to work a 9 to 5.
Creator isn't being a content creator. It's becoming a content creator. And that is where I think that it is so hard for people like myself to find success in this industry unless you are a Nepo baby or someone who was just born into wealth. Because for me, I wasn't. And I had to work every single day and get home from work and say, I want to be a creator. And even though I'm exhausted and I got up at 7 a.m., I got on the subway to go to work at 8 and I got home at 6. All I want to do is put my fat ass on the couch and eat sushi. I have to lock in and post 2 videos a day. That was a number I set for myself because I was like, the only way to grow as someone like me who started with 0 followers and was a nobody for me was to post consistently and show up, take up space on people's For You page, let them get sick of me from seeing me so much until they were going to finally fucking listen to me. I do have to show you guys the food I got.
I love that. And notice what this all stemmed from. It stemmed from just basically him knowing that, shoot, I really came from nothing. I don't have no trust fund waiting on me. I don't have nothing right now. And in order for me to get ahead, I'm going to have to actually like do what most people aren't willing to do, which is after they clock out of their 9 to 5, clock back in from 5 to 9. I actually have a video about that on my Patreon. It was one of my first videos I ever did. And I think it was called 9 to 5 is for survival, 5 to 9 is legacy. I'll probably make that available for my members because YouTube has members now. So I'll probably go ahead and make that video available for some of the people who are members on YouTube who join the membership. But yeah, most people have to start looking at it like that. A 9 to 5 is survival. And your 5 to 9, that's going to be what gets you ahead, especially if you didn't come from money, right?
Hear me out. It is shrimp with Parmesan cheese on it.
And look, see?
It is.
He work hard and he get to play hard. He get to get his little sushi. That's what he like. He like his sushi with the whatever. So he's working hard and he gets to enjoy the fruits of his labor as opposed to you not working hard and you struggling. It's going to be a struggle either way. You're going to have to pick a struggle.
It is the best thing in the entire world. Even now, as a full-time creator who finally makes a ton of money and has found so much success, it didn't come overnight. Quite frankly, it didn't come overnight at all. These are what my videos looked like when I first started posting. And I know what a lot of you are going to say. You still got 3,000 views. These only have 3,000 or 1,000 or 2,000 views because they have been up for 4 years. I posted every single day and was met with flop after flop after flop. But here's what advice I'm going to give. You need to love making content. And I genuinely love this job. I love putting my fucking phone up and yapping. It is my fucking dream come true that this is what I get paid to do. I just got asked a million times, hey, you were in New York. Was that for fun or for work? I answered both. I was there for work, but I genuinely find my job so much fun. I'm a Leo. I love being the center of attention.
Well, that's a misconception. You don't have to love doing content. You don't have to love your job, right? You could have a job in cybersecurity and you don't care nothing about coding, nothing. But you just have to have a strong reason, a strong motivation for doing it, right? So maybe you love the lifestyle that content can provide, right? And that's a whole different, that's a different thing in totality. So you don't have to love content, but look what he said. And this extends to anything. It's not just content. Anything when you're starting, especially if you're trying to branch out on your own, you're going to be working hard like you got a real job and you're not going to be seeing any results. And really the results that you're getting and the compensation that you're getting is the feedback that you really need to use so that you can start trending towards actually making some money. And here's what I mean. Because most people will ignore it. And so they don't even reap their compensation. But what I'm referring to is, okay, you posted a video. It didn't work. Man, these platforms have analytics. Are you going back, figuring out why it didn't work? Maybe you just need to drop it completely and try something else. Maybe you just found out that that just doesn't work. That's valuable because that's one less thing you can, if you're going to try, if it's going to take you 10,000 things before you actually get to what's going to work, well, guess what? That's one less thing now. So now you only got 9,999 left to go. But people aren't looking at it like that. Even YouTube is that way. YouTube, before you can even get monetized, you have to get 4,000 watch hours. You have to have 4,000 watch hours. keep in mind when you're starting, I mean, one view, maybe they watch it for a couple seconds because you're that trash. You got to get 4,000 watch hours and like 1,000 subscribers before you even get paid. And keep in mind that 4,000 watch hours is still pretty significant. And you still have to do that for free. It's free. And so it's an investment. And it's not easy. But if you can endure it, then it's worth it. Just like a lot of things in life.
Career will come a lot easier to you if you genuinely love to yap, you love to talk, you love to create. I say with any industry in the world, it's a combination of passion and skill. And the great thing about skill is practice can make perfect. You can learn every single day. Next, we have my eel avocado roll. But the thing with passion, it can't be taught. You have to really want something, and you have to be able to want it to the point where you're going to go for it. Even my 3 best friends who I host Between Us Girlies with, I asked them last week, I said, do you guys want to be full-time creators? And they said, absolutely, it's our dream. And I said, you guys work 9 to 5s, which is the hardest part about this, but you need to start seeing content creation as work. You need to say, hey, I get home from work and then I'm going to go work again. And if that doesn't excite you, if the idea of that is, I don't feel like doing this, you might not want it as much as you think you do. And I'm not saying that to be rude or to discount any of the hard work and dedication that it takes and how hard it is to work a 9 to 5 job. I did it. I did it for a year and 2 months. I basically worked 2 jobs. I worked my 9 to 5, and then I got home and I clocked in on this damn app. But guess what? Now I just clock in on this damn app, and I make so much more money than I ever made, and I'm so much more fulfilled. The hard work is worth it if you want it. Oh, and wait, This is the Fishtown roll.
He's a good friend. He's a good friend because he actually told them the real thing. Like that advice was gold in itself. Because that's how I look at it. This is a job, which means it has to be disciplined. And you can't just look at it. See, it'll be people who want to be entrepreneurs because they like, I want to make my own schedule and I want to work whenever I want. That's what you think running a business is like? We're just working whenever you want? No, it's a discipline. It's worse than work. You definitely have to show up for it. And see, with content creation too, you got to show up on weekends. You see my videos hit on the weekends too, right? So there's no days off, as you can see. Especially if you, like he said, if you want it bad. And it doesn't mean that you have to want to just be famous bad. But whatever you want and however content creation is going to facilitate that for you, if you want it bad, then you'll do what it takes. And see, he told them exactly what it's going to take. He didn't gatekeep the information. But see, sometimes people will be mad at you because they're like, no, tell us the secret. What's the secret? I know you have the secret to where I can be at your level tomorrow. There is no secret. That's the secret. You have to treat this like a job. When you first started your job, you weren't that good at it, right? But as you kept going, as you kept showing up and enduring and enduring and enduring, you got past the messy middle. The middle's always messy. And then you got to clean execution. And so that's really what it takes. He's not going to be able to give you his blueprint. You're going to have to find your own lane. And it's not going to be easy. But as he said, if you can stay down long enough, it'll be worth it. And that just doesn't extend to content creation. That can extend to starting your own consulting business. That can extend to starting your own cleaning business, whatever it is. But that's what it's going to take.
To the influencers who's going broke, I'm going to tell y'all the truth. Chase the craft, not the cash. This proves my point, what I've been saying for the past couple years. Don't get caught up in the numbers. I'm going to tell you right now, some of these creators and some of these influencers be thinking they're A1 celebrities, which is fucking true. But in reality, it's okay if you want to go, I guess, get you a degree. If you want to go start you a business on the side. If you have to go back to a 9 to 5, it's cool. Just let this be a lesson learned to everybody that's trying to come up right now. Always remain a student of the game. Don't get caught up in these numbers. Don't get caught up in this, that, the third. I'm telling you, it's a lot of creators who are going like broke or who are going here, this, that, third. It's okay. I'm not even trying to judge them, but it's more of like, it matters that you have a team of individuals who know what the next step is to where you're trying to go. Cause I see a lot of creators who was popping back in 22, 23, 24, who's not popping like that. I'm telling y'all, just pay attention to detail, yo. Build you a team of people who creative minds, chase the craft, not the cash.
You don't need a team. You don't need a team. I mean, we have AI for it, for goodness sake. The AI can be your team. But what you do have to do, what I do like that he said is, it's a lot of people that is here today and gone tomorrow, but there's also a lot of people who was here yesterday and still here today. And so what it comes down to is like the other guy said who was eating sushi, which is, yes, it is passion, but it also does require some level of skill. You have to be paying attention. You have to notice the patterns, the trends, and you have to know when to pivot ultimately. And I feel like that's something that I'm strong at because I pay attention and I keep a pulse on the market. You know, I'm into stocks. So I used to day trade. I don't do that anymore. Now I'm more long-term focused, dollar cost average over 20, 30-year time horizon. But when I used to day trade, I noticed like when I was doing it every day, it's like you start to get a feel and a pulse for the market. You start to know it's like an instinct that'll come. And so for one, you got to stay down long enough and you have to be paying attention. Most people think that they're working hard just because they keep grinding doing the same ish that ain't working. No. Pareto principle. There's 20% of whatever you're doing that's getting you 80% of the results. And the other 80% is taking away from you being able to focus more narrowly into the 20% and increase your results. So what I'm ultimately saying is that you need to be dropping what's not working as fast as possible, which should be easy, especially if you're on YouTube, because YouTube has the best cutting edge analytics and technology. And you need to be doubling down on what is working. When something works, you need to double down on it heavily. And that's just a principle. That can be a business principle. That can be a life principle. But that is a principle ultimately for success. And so you don't need a team for that. You just have to be really trying. And what I view as really trying is being as effective as possible, not being as frequent as possible. It says OG influencers aren't rich anymore, need jobs now. Part 1.
Of that girl asking how all the OG influencers were making $30,000 to $50,000 a month and now they're broke and e-begging on TikTok. Like, what happened to all that money? So as somebody who accumulated over 2.5 million subscribers on YouTube back in 2015, and I was literally living in LA, so I witnessed a lot of this, I'm going to give you guys the breakdown on what happened with that money.
Hey, first of all, your first mistake is moving to LA. Now, I'm a common sense type of person.
Yeah.
A lot of rich people left LA
Them taxes.
because of taxes and other things, right? So if the rich are living, and I'm talking about the people that got that real bread, you come over there to LA because you making 15, 20, 25, $30,000 a month, bro, that's not the move, man. That 15.
Imagine being able to make money from anywhere in the world and you choose to go to LA and make that your home base.
20,000 a month would stretch so much further if you just stay in your hometown, but y'all be trying to be lit. Y'all want to be clout chasing and all that kind of stuff. Nah, man, I'm gonna stay in the hood while I'm not in the hood, but y'all get what I'm saying.
I can't speak for everybody, obviously, but just what I've seen. When I moved out there, I thought I was pushing it with my $2,000 one-bedroom apartment, but I had people living in the same building, just at the top floor. I was on the 3rd floor, but they were at the top floor paying $20,000 a month. And then I had some friends that lived in mansions just for the sole purpose of wanting to be able to throw parties and have people come over and make content in there.
Lord.
Literally paying people's yearly salaries, like $30,000, $40,000 a month just to rent this huge house.
Bro, to justify me spending 20 bands on a apartment, I would need to be bringing in $300,000-$400,000 a month. That's the type of money I would have to make. If I'm making $100,000 a month, I'm not spending 1/5 on an apartment. I'm sorry, that's just not going to make sense to me.
It's a logical guy right here because. So let me get this straight. See, these are these self-inflicted wounds. Be doing it to themselves. You could have pocketed most of that, but instead they decided to go to a state where they're going to get taxed heavily, and then they also went to a state where the cost of living is the highest. And just the cost of everything is the highest. When they first blew up, I believe that she said allegedly, you ain't even been doing this long enough to be taking on all this overhead. You're getting your first initial pop. And the first thing you think to do is just go ahead and squander everything that you've been given.
$300,000-$400,000, I would do it. But I don't even think I would want to do it, honestly.
So for those of you that were also wondering, like, why do a lot of these influencers have big houses, but they're fucking empty? Not even joking, to get some good quality furniture in there, it's gonna cost you like $500,000. And don't even get me started on their Uber ego. It's like people reach a certain amount of followers and all of a sudden they can't use Uber X.
Right.
Hey, we
What
can't
the
pull up to
fuck?
this party in a Prius. Order an Uber Black. Why would we spend $250 to pull up to a party when we could spend $19.99?
Jesus
Half the
Christ.
cars that you see these people whipping around are rentals, and they're spending like $300, $500 a day just to whip it around and try to act like they're somebody they're not. Babe, just because you hit 200K doesn't mean you need to go and get a C300 for Mercedes. Like, it's okay. You can drive your paid off Toyota. Maybe 1 out of 10 of my friends actually cooked their meals at home. Everybody was constantly going out to eat or hiring private chefs. When you start making all this money, a lot of people tend to forget that it might stop one day. So they're still going on these expensive vacations, buying all this designer, even if it's starting to dwindle. Because they literally got used to that lifestyle. Girl, when I tell you, the second I had enough money to buy a property, I bought one. I could only tell so many story times and do so many get ready with me's before people fucking lose interest, okay? I had to be realistic about it. But I could see how most 21-year-olds are not thinking about that. More or less, a lot of these people ran through their money trying to look cool. That's it. And now they're begging for galaxies and cowboy hats.
Ooh. Hey, bro, keeping up with the Joneses, man. Listen, the OG That Boy Will followers, when I played that heartbeat, you already knew what it was, man. We ain't even got to explain what's already understood. You know what I'm talking about? But, God, she said something about those $20,000 apartments, bro. See, this is some things that I would know, right? Y'all trying to impress broke people, but the rich people gonna look at you like, yeah, he's pretending. Because if you got a big ass $20,000 a month apartment and it's not furnished, we know what it is. You don't have the bread to furnish it. And then guess what? You're too embarrassed to put regular furniture in there because
Yeah, that's crazy. If you got a $20,000 apartment and it's not furnished, that's insane. But here's the thing. I mean, it ultimately just comes down to like what that other content creator said, who was eating the sushi. I keep going back to him. I think he had the best points in this entire video. And see, didn't he just look so happy? He didn't have much. He just had his sushi. He had his little meal that he likes to have. And he got both the big old rolls too, with something else on the side. It looked like some type of chicken. But see, when you come, he said that he didn't come from money. He looked like he did, but apparently he didn't. He comes from humble beginnings. And see, when you have humble beginnings, that's the biggest blessing because it really don't take much, right? It don't take much. And it's easier to get closer to the Most High because humility is a great trait. And it's okay to have a lot of worldly things, but I don't feel like it should really affect you either way. Whether you have it or whether you don't, you should still have what's most important, right? And that's for you to understand what's most important. But this is what you see. People more so valuing things of the world and they're still not happy. They're still not happy. But what they are doing is they're ultimately setting themselves up for a mighty fall because they're also not being smart. They're not using their talents as effectively as they could, right? They're doing worse than if you just buried the talents. They're literally just wasting it and throwing it away. So we'll leave it there for today. If you could like the video, I greatly appreciate it. Only takes a second and it actually helps out more than you know. And also if you could hype the video, hype is a new feature that YouTube offers where it helps smaller content creators like myself. And basically when you hype, it actually pushes us to the extent that it pushes the larger content creators. So you just press the hype button and it shows the points. And since I am a smaller creator, a smaller channel, we actually get more points per hype. And hype was designed for smaller channels, so that's why. But if you see a video and you don't see the hype button, then it's probably been over 7 days, and hype usually disappears after 7 days. So best practices, if you did want to use a hype with me, then it's best practice to just go ahead and hype while the iron is hot. And then also Patreon's link below if you want to see self-improvement content as well. And until then, I will catch you all in the next video.